Hey Wire Monkeys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Cabling. Today, we're catching back up with Low Voltage Nation. Welcome to the show where we tackle the tough questions submitted by installers, project managers, estimators, ICT personnel, even customers. We're connecting at the human level so that we can connect the world. If you're watching this on YouTube, would you mind hitting the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when new content is being produced? If you're listening to us on one of the audio podcast platforms like Apple or Stitcher or Google or one of those other ones, would you mind leaving us a 5-star rating? Those simple little steps helps us take on the algorithm so we can slay that algorithm, so we can educate, encourage, and enrich the lives of people in the ICT industry. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are you doing? We do a live stream on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, where you get to ask your favorite RCDD. Don't try to pretend like I'm not your favorite RCDD. Your questions on installation, certification, project management, even career path questions. And finally, while this show is free and will always remain free, if you find value in this content and you would like to help support this show, click on that QR code right there. You can buy me a cup of tea. You can even schedule a 15-minute one-on-one call with me, after hours, of course. And then finally, if you go to letstalkcabling.com, we have some Amazon links where some tools and stuff that we like. You can buy stuff through that, and we will make a small stipend off that. So as I said in the intro, there are many groups out there trying to make the low voltage industry better. And Low Voltage Nation is one of them. I keep track of them. I keep track of all of them, actually. I'm always in there talking to everybody because I want to talk to everybody in the low voltage industry. So I realized it's been a while since I've had them on the show. So I reached out to Blake and said, hey, we need to catch up. And he said, absolutely. So here we are. Welcome back, Mr. Blake Urmos. How you doing, my friend?
I'm pretty good. This is what, round 4, round 5? How many times have I been on this show?
I've lost track, actually. I think you've been on more than anybody else, actually.
Probably, man. We're the OGs, baby.
The OGs. Hey, it's funny. You did a social media post, and I don't remember where I saw it because that's the bad thing about being on all the social media platforms because I see stuff, but I don't remember where I saw it.
Right.
And you did a post something about about the Low Voltage Nation is the OG of vlogs and podcasts. And I meant to call you out on that because you're not.
Who's the OG then?
The OG is a guy from what is his name? Jeez, my name just went out of head. He started recording videos on YouTube 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He works for Ideal. Ron Kipper, that's who it is. He did videos on near and crosstalk, far and crosstalk. He hasn't been doing a lot of stuff lately. Mm-hmm. But when you look at some of those older videos, man, there's a couple of them that have like several 100,000 views. I think there's even one or two that might even have 1 million views. So he is the OG.
What's his YouTube account? Do you know?
Ron Kipper, I think.
Yeah.
Just do a search on Ron Kipper. You'll find him.
Yeah, but did he have a podcast? I think that's what I was saying. I was like, I was the OG podcast.
Well, podcast, I'll give you that because he was only doing vlog, and it's funny because here's the competition, here's the competitive nature. I can't talk today. Here's the competitive nature of Chuck. When you typed that, I was like, when was my first podcast?
Yeah, you should have jumped in there, man. I love a good razzing and roasting.
No, you had yours out before mine, not by much, by like a couple months or something. But so you are the OG, but I'm the OG RCDD podcaster.
That is true, indeed.
I gotta be best at something.
You're the highest volume of content.
Oh yeah, I put out lots.
Like a landslide. Like you got like me and Bixie and like everybody combined.
And I did a search the other day. Or actually, when you're doing YouTube videos and you're putting in the keywords, it gives you I have one of those platforms that tells me how that keyword ranks, right? So it gives you a score. And when I put in Bixie, I was like 56 or 60 out of 100.
Oh, yeah?
So I was like, and it's a funny thing, if you go to Google and you type in RCDD, Bixie shows up first, but I think that's because they pay for that. I have not paid for anything on this platform. Not one, not one dime towards advertisement, nothing. It's just pure flooding the market with content.
Brute force attack, organic.
Right. And so when you type in RCDD and you pull up the Google thing, I am all over that front page. All over that.
Wait, so you're on the front page of Google?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You should
Yeah.
be. Why wouldn't you be?
There you go. But you and I do need to talk. Not today, of course. Offline. First, I got to get some money coming into the podcast. I'm working. I'm releasing my fire stopping class video this month, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I'm doing another RCD study group next year to help get some money in. But I heard you and Quick Tech AV. What's his name?
Kermit.
Kermit. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I watched y'all's video where you were talking about social media and you were talking about advertisement stuff, and I was like, I've always kind of shied away from it because I feel like that's cheating. But after listening to you guys, like maybe I need to
cheating.
Yeah.
What? No, everybody. If you want to grow, you got to advertise.
Yeah, well, maybe that's just me being cheap. Maybe that might be.
You'll lose a lot of money. You got to be prepared to lose like at least $1,000 until you learn what you're doing.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Because as of right now, I am across all the platforms, 13,000 people, audience members.
What do you on TikTok now? You've been killing
even on TikTok. TikTok, I am. I haven't looked at my number there recently. I want to say I'm coming in on 5,000 now. I think. But the beautiful thing is, I don't necessarily pay attention to the number of subs or audience members because number one, for the audio podcast, I can't tell how many subscribers I have. I can only tell the number of downloads.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's hard.
Yeah, exactly. But so I look at once a month, and I haven't put mine out this month. So once a month, I sit down and I compile all of my views, all my impressions, all my downloads.
Yep.
And then last month was the quarter. Last quarter, I hit, 340,000 download views, impressions across all the platforms.
That's awesome.
And the subscriber count's going up. Those numbers keep going up. So to me, I don't judge myself against your journey. I don't judge myself against Kermit's journey, right? I judge myself against how was I doing last month, right? Yeah, because you guys are way better at some of the social media stuff than I am. A lot of my stuff is considered talking head stuff. Yeah. Although a lot of that's going to change when I start doing videos up in the studio and start showing me building out stuff, but. Then you need to watch out.
You got a studio? You're gonna build up do like a little lab?
You haven't been watching the show?
Dude, I can barely keep up with my stuff. Like I post my shit and I walk away. I'm like, I try not to consume content. It's too much,
I hear you.
man.
I haven't been on TikTok for like 2 weeks. Yeah. I totally shut down TikTok. I'm still there, but I haven't posted anything on for 2 weeks. But yeah, I bought a 12 by 32 pre-made shed, and they dropped it off on the property. Yeah. We are dividing it in half. Half of it will be a studio apartment for like a farm sitter. The other half is the podcast studio. Dude, and I just had electric put up there. This last weekend I was working on building out the wall to separate them, and then I'm going to order probably this weekend the 3/4 inch AC grade fire plywood to start putting up in the walls, and then I've already reached out to a couple different manufacturers for, hey, I need this, and this. Are you interested in donating it and I can make videos of how to install it? And oh yeah, sure, Chuck, we'll do that. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a complete studio, man. I'll have conduit in there, so they'll have 4 90-degree bends. I've so we can do simulations and all kinds of stuff. Man, I'm super stoked with it, man.
You know what? I did see a piece of content on that, and I think that's awesome. That's like my goal. Like you're ahead of me in that. You've got the land too. Like I've only got like a 750 square foot apartment. I'm trying to get like commercial space, but it's so expensive.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Well, the shed cost me a chunk of cash, but like I said,
it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah. Absolutely it is.
I'm jealous, dude.
I can't wait. I mean, and again, that's my vacation days over this month and next month. I am going to be focusing on getting that fire stopping class published and put out there for everybody. I got a couple other ideas for other classes, and get that podcast studio to the point where I can start shooting up. Because right now, when I go up here and I record in it, because there's nothing in it, the audio's
terrible.
Terrible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it is. The funny thing is, you and I would catch that. A lot of other people wouldn't even do that. I was doing an interview with somebody, and we're doing the audio check and the video check before the platform, and he had a microphone in front of him, and I said, "Your microphone's not turned on." He goes, "How can you tell?" I said, "You're just being picked up through the mic in your computer." He goes, "How can
Yeah.
you tell that?" I said, "Check your settings." And he goes,
Yeah.
oh, "You're right."
Have you used the Adobe podcast enhancer tool? Have you used that before?
No, no, is that in the Creative
It's so
Cloud?
good, but you got to upload it to like a web browser. But they actually put it into Adobe Premiere, so
Okay,
it's actually baked into it. But it enhances the audio. Like you can take
really?
the microphone built into like a camera and turn it into like listenable audio. It gets all the background noise out and
Oh.
compresses it, adjusts the levels. Yeah, it's the Adobe product, Adobe Speech Enhance.
And that's where I run. That's where I struggle is when you start talking about the compressor and I mean I have a hard time taking out weird noises sometimes out of stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
people think it's it's easy to run a podcast.
It's not.
It's easy to sit down and talk to somebody,
Yeah.
but when you factor in all the other stuff, that's why I love doing interviews with people like you because normally I have the questions already all written out and sent to the customer and stuff. But I know you've talked in front of a camera before, so I don't have to deal with that. B, we just need a general outline. We don't even need questions.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten to any of the bullet
I know.
points.
Here we are. Like we're 10 minutes into the show already. We haven't even done the first thing yet. Oh well. Hey,
Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about 2023. We're coming up, closing out 2023.
What happened? 2023 is over. What is
Oh, I
going
know.
on?
Hey, it gets faster as you get older. Trust me. Trust
Oh,
me.
man.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys have done a lot of stuff over the last 12 months. One of the things was you shifted to Discord. Right?
Yes. I love
So
Discord.
let's talk about that. Why did you do that? And is it enhancing your
Oh, yeah.
podcast?
Oh yeah, big time. So Slack, you were in the Slack workspace, weren't you? It
Yes.
just kind of just died out.
Yes.
We would get like 3 posts like a week or something, and it was just like with the Facebook group going to the side, it's like 63,000 or something, and it just overshadowed that. So what we were finding is that somebody would post a question in Slack. And nobody would have an answer. It'd be like, all right, did you ask the Facebook group? And like, so we'd always direct people to the Facebook group. So the thing is with Facebook is that it's like that 25 to like and up and like 55 demographic, mostly male for our industry, 97% male. In case you're wondering what the breakdown is, but there's that 13 to like 25 demographic that we're not capturing with the Facebook community and Slack. Nobody uses. I mean, people use Slack for communities, but it's more of like a corporate kind of enterprise kind of level situation. And it's a great product, but it's better for internal teams, at least in my opinion. But Discord has much better community features. It has like a built-in community functionality. You can actually like monetize it with a built-in feature. It has all these different roles you can assign, and it has like onboarding, so it puts them in the proper channel. So there's all these really things that Discord really took into consideration. And switching to that, we've got 600 members now. It's a lot more active than Slack, and we're capturing a lot of the TikTok generation, the Gen Alpha, and then Gen what's the other one?
I don't go by those.
I don't whatever. But yeah, we're capturing that younger demographic is what we're doing. So I love it. I did not like Discord. I was very resistant to it because I thought it was too confusing and like. I don't know, it's like such an old person thing to say. It's like, oh, I don't want to learn this new technology.
You hit the nail on the head, right? Because somebody reached out to me 6 months ago and they said, Chuck, why is Let's Talk Cabling not on Discord? I said, I don't have the bandwidth. I just don't. I don't have the bandwidth. And they said, well, we'll create it. And I said, well, if you create it, create a Friends of Let's Talk Cabling. Don't create a Let's Talk Cabling.
Yeah. Don't hijack my brand.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I'm worried about him hijacking my brand, although that is a concern. But it's more importantly if it's that way. If something gets said in that group, if it's titled Friends of Let's Talk Cabling, they'll realize it's not the official Discord. It's not me actually saying. There's a disconnect there. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
And I just haven't pursued it just because you're exactly right. I'm used to looking at Facebook feeds. I'm used to looking at Slack feeds, scrolling through TikTok. And the first time I looked at TikTok, I was like, we were talking about this right before I hit the record button. I don't like change. I don't like having to figure out software. So I'm going to go with what's easy for Chuck. But
Yeah, says the guy that had StreamYard. Now you Restream, and now you do Riverside, and you're streaming to all these platforms. Like, what are you talking about, Chuck? Like, you're like a pioneer in
no,
this
no.
industry more than me in some cases.
Well, no. See, you're You're mislabeling it. I don't call that a pioneer. I call that um, the strive for excellence, because I realize there's a certain vision that I want, and that first platform that I picked didn't help me get there. It helped me. It helped. It got me. It got me in front of the camera. Got me live streaming, but there were some functionalities that I wanted that platform didn't have.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of how I ended up on Riverside,
yeah,
and so far I'm absolutely in love with Riverside.
yeah.
So.
It's like with me. Like, I don't like getting on camera, but who else is going to do it? Like, I did it out of necessity, just to grow the community and grow Low Voltage Nation. That was the reason why.
Yes, I was teaching a class in Ohio last week, and somebody in the class recognized me from the podcast.
Oh yeah.
And so we got talking to one of the breaks, and he said, "Man, you do so great." And I said, "That's funny. I look at those videos and I cringe." And I said, if you get me outside of this environment, if you put me in a room with a bunch of people, I'm the guy sitting in the back watching everybody. I'm an introvert outside of this function. I'm an introvert, not an extrovert.
I'm the same way.
And he's like, I don't believe that. I said, well, you need to come hang out with me next time I go to an event where I don't know anybody, because you'll see me in the back of the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Interesting.
So Discord has had a really good impact on the community.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, it's revived it in a lot of ways. Moving from Slack for sure.
Yeah, there was one individual, because I've just started making a mental effort to be in your Discord space. Now you know me, I'm all over the Facebook space, and we're gonna talk about Facebook in a little bit.
I tag you in Discord because people are like, is anybody else in RCDD? Well, Chuck and Lee. I always
I have to pay.
you.
Yeah. I have to go back and double check that, because in other community platforms, I do the same thing. I'm like, look, I don't have the bandwidth to be in.
I know. I don't
5
expect you to
different
be in there.
platforms if you need me to answer something, call me out or tag me in it, and then that way when I pop in, make it easy for Chuck, right? So pops says, "Hey Chuck, you have new messages," and so I'll have to make sure I go back and look at those Discord ones, because like I said, I just started probably, I think, over the last month trying to get in your Discord and communicate more. And where I was going with that is, I was talking to somebody, posted a question about estimating or something, and I responded back, and then of course it went back, and I am very old school. Here's an old school way. I finally told the guy, I said, "Look, pick up the phone and give me a call so we can talk about this." Right?
What is that thing called? Like, what is it? Rotary phone or?
It's called a candlestick phone. I started collecting phones now.
That's old school.
Yes, I got another one. It's not the same model; it's a different model. But when I move into the podcast studio, I'm going to run a cable between the two, so that way, when my wife needs to communicate with me, she can pick up the phone and ring me up in the podcast.
That's
studio.
amazing. I love that.
Yeah. So anyway, the guy was asking some estimating questions, and I was traveling, I think, at the time, and I said, "Look, just give me a call." And so he called me, and then and finally I helped him with what he was trying to do, and then I got to talking to him. I was like, "Dude, I need to have you on the podcast. Because he's really good with like AV, and one of his techs lives 15 miles that way."
Yeah,
and he's like in Tampa, I think, or something. I was like,
"You're in the middle of nowhere, aren't you?"
Oh yeah. I said, "Look, you ever find yourself up here, give me a call. I'll meet you at the Cracker Barrel and buy you a cup of coffee."
There you go.
The Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Let's shift our conversation. Talk about training events.
Yeah.
So when you first did Low Voltage Nation, you did that meetup where you guys built a rack and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
And then you kind of laid off because of COVID, like most other people did.
That wasn't cool. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to get back into training events? Do you have anything on the radar?
Yeah, so we've done some stuff with FOA. We did that scholarship. That was a big deal. At least I thought it was. And then we've done some other kind of meetups with training stuff around it. But yeah, and then we've done some online stuff with Fiber Wizards. So we do a lot more fiber than copper stuff. I would like to do actually more copper. But I was in Atlanta was this week?
It was this week. I saw the social media post.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was just a couple days ago. Went there to meet with Lee Renfro with GoFar. He's done like 60 trainings, I think, across the nation for the CFOT is mostly what he does for Fiber Optic Association. So I want to get more involved in just now that I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I'm not sure if I told you, but I'm not a sales director anymore.
I did not know that.
I had to give it up, man. It was just like the money was really good because like sales is like where it's at if you want to make a decent living. But it was just like so time consuming and sucking my energy out. So
That has to be either like super recent news or you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile recently.
I updated that LinkedIn profile like as soon as I sent my resignation letter, I updated my LinkedIn profile.
Because I could have swore I just looked at your profile literally within the last 7 days.
This is like 2 weeks ago. This is my second. This is week 2 of freedom.
Gotcha. Well, I do live in the country, so the internet takes a little longer to get to me.
You need to get you some fiber optics, man.
I am running fiber to the podcast studio.
There you go.
Saying.
So anyway, so we're doing training events. We're involved. I want to host some and be actually the actual host of the training events. But that's a big part of Low Voltage Nation are those training events. It always has been. It was
kind of like the Jacksonville event.
Yeah, well, what did we do there? That was more of like an outdoor networking kind of like collaboration with.
No. We did it in Jacksonville with OptiView. You had a one day. Lee was there. He talked a little bit about fiber. OptiView talked a little bit about enclosures.
Yeah. That was like bringing your network outdoors. So it was like a lot of NEMA enclosure stuff, and then how to like run the cable. Then we had some fiber discussions around it. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, just anything that has to do with training for sure. Yeah. So there's nothing on the calendar right now, but if anybody wants to collab on some stuff, even like with your Firestop stuff, I would love to get involved and we can promote that through the Facebook group and whatnot. So.
Oh, absolutely. I got it's recognized for Bixie CECs. I have conducted the class on one-on-one a couple times, but I want to get it recorded and put it up on Teachable so I can get that whole passive income thing going. And let it generate.
Let me know. We'll promote it. Whatever you want me to do.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
So courses. I saw that you were starting something about like some kind of a social media class or something.
Yeah. So, that one's going to be released first, and it is more of a how to become like a social media expert, like get like brand deals, promote, whether you work for a company like an integration company or one of them, maybe even a bigger company, you're on the marketing team, or if you want to become like an influencer. Like I want to take what I've learned through Low Voltage Nation and then bringing up Low Volt Girl, her rapid rise to she actually did the video recording for all the courses. You may have seen them on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So I wanted to get that out there because I get so many questions about social media. Like you and I, we jam about social media. Like that's usually like the main focus of our conversation. Like how do you do this? Like what's the new technique? Like what's the new platform? And then all this AI stuff coming out. So there's a big discussion within that around like AI. So that's
I'll tell you what, AI has helped me out so much with my podcast.
Yeah.
So much. There's a lot you can do with it. You just have to know how to use it. If you just put in just a generic search, you're going to get garbage in, garbage out. It's all about how you
be very surface level, very boilerplate kind of. You can tell, like,
right. Yeah. But if you take the time and say something like, act as a podcast host interviewing POE experts about such and such topics. Give me 10 questions, 15 questions, blah blah blah. Boom, it kicks it out. But what I really love about the AI, so I do my audio goes out through Buzzsprout.
Yep.
Buzzsprout has an AI component in it that writes the description for the show. Now, I can certainly write the description for the show, but that's going to take 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It does it in seconds.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It does it better than I do it.
Oh, yeah, and you read through it, and you're like, that is 100% accurate and 10 times better than what I could have done in 10 times the amount of time.
Exactly. And usually where it messes up is like spelling the person's last name. That's usually where it messes up. So I got to go in and fix that, and then boom. And then what I'll do, here's another tip that I do quite often. So once I got that audio, because I publish the audio first, then I do the video, that goes out, and then I do all the social media posts. So what I do is I'll take that description that Buzzsprout AI made for me. And then I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll say, based on this show description, write me an SEO optimized short social media post for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Boom. And it kicks it right out. I mean, does it in seconds. So that has streamlined my process so much.
Yeah, I always ask it to make like a list of 10 like subject lines or whatever, or descriptions, and I can choose which one I want and fine tune it myself. So yeah,
Right.
getting to do like multiple outputs at the same time is awesome.
Let me ask, do you do this? So again, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm also in the Riverside group, the Buzzsprout group, and I'm watching other, so people from Buzzsprout, they'll post questions. Hey, I'm doing this. Do you have questions for that? I even find myself answering stuff in there. People ask me, how do you do this? Are you publishing audio and video? So I even answer it in there. But I'll be the first to tell you, look, I am not an expert. I've only been doing this for 3 years. I am not an expert.
But you're ahead of at least like 50% of the people. And then you can train up those people. As long as you're one step ahead of them, then you're good.
Yeah, but my goal is not to be one step ahead of them. My goal is to get the message out more. That's my goal.
I got you. Yeah.
But if I can help somebody else, me, that's my motto is helping people. So, all right. Any other courses you're working on?
Yeah, so we're doing it's like a low voltage essentials. I don't know if you've seen in the Facebook group. The people always come and ask like, what courses should I take, or what certifications should I take, or like, hey, I'm just getting started. I'm here to learn. And on
I love those posts.
On that point, if anybody's listening and you see somebody in the Facebook group that comes in there to learn, like, help them or don't say anything at all. You know what I mean?
Did you see my response?
I don't know. Maybe there's multiple of these posts, and I try to jump in. And
true. Somebody did a post where they I can't remember what the question was, and then the problem is I rarely see those posts right when they post. I usually see them like a day after, and they got like 75 responses.
Yeah, right.
And it's got 75 responses. Unless there's something horrifically wrong, I am not even going to post. It's run its course. Yeah, but I happened to catch this one literally within like a couple of minutes of being posted. And there was a couple responses in there, and somebody posted a question. It was about somebody asking about how to price something, and that always brings out the trolls in the Facebook group, right?
Oh God, yeah.
So the first couple sponsors were, maybe you shouldn't be in business if you don't know how to price it. And I just kind of got in there and said, look, respect the journey. Not everybody started off estimating being perfect estimators.
Right.
Respect the journey. Give the guy some advice. Period.
Yeah.
And then I walked away from the microphone.
Just close your laptop.
You got to do that, because if you don't, somebody's going to respond back, and then the natural human reaction is, well, I got to respond. Nah. I did the response, close it, turn on the TV, watch TV with the wife.
Oh, for sure. I do that quite often. Yeah. It's like I just throw the phone.
Oh, yeah. I remember you and I were talking once a while back. You're telling me you had to turn off the notifications on your phone because you're getting dinged so many times. I'm getting to that point now. I'm like, that's what Blake was talking about, because my phone's, 5 o'clock in the morning, ding, ding, ding. My wife's like, who's blowing up your phone? I don't know. It's one of the platforms. I don't know which one it is. It's one.
Yeah, I tried to explain to my mom, like, I was like, I get thousands of notifications, and DMs, and and email, and just like, it's insane. She's like, who are these people?
Yeah.
She's like, are they harassing you? I was like, yeah, kind of.
And then on top of that, I'm on so our church has a text group set up for the men. There's like 20 some people in there. So I'm in that text group. So if somebody will post something, and then of course then 20 people will say amen. So I get ding, 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 ding.
Oh, no.
It's like, and of course it always does it like right when I'm like teaching a virtual class or recording an interview or something. And I was like, oh well.
Yeah. So anyway, so the low voltage course, I want to put together just like an essentials, just like, this is how you get started. Like, here, this is the difference between Cat 5 and Cat 6. This is the tools you need. This is how you address cable. I want to do something like super basic.
Yes.
And it'll be given away for free, or a very small fee to cover like maybe advertising cost or something. Right. But I want to be able to give people that resource and then bring them into the community. So it'll be like a lead magnet, but also based on what we've seen in the Facebook group, it is a problem that needs solving.
Yes. And the other problem is having people respond professionally.
Yeah.
Empathetically.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
But
like when people ask about, hey, just getting started. What tools do I get? I drop a link. I was like, here's all the
I've seen
tools,
you do that.
the ultimate tools list, and it's based off of the feedback, all the polls that we've ran in the past.
Mhm.
And that's just like, it's what the community suggests. It's not like me like trying to sell shit, even though I do get commission off of the Amazon links. It's actually the products that people use in the group.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, since we're talking about Facebook, you said you had
Yeah.
some posts you want to pull up. Let's bring up them posts and
Yeah. I mean, we're 40 minutes into this. So
yeah, but the first 5 minutes was just setting up and stuff. So that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to try to get over to the Facebook group. And we've done this in the past. So Mason Bortz and I did this a while ago where we review some of the posts from the group and give our feedback on it. So I wanted to just drill down. The first one is a pass through. And I don't
Wait a
want
minute.
to.
How much time do we have?
I don't want to discuss whether or not you should use pass-throughs. Obviously, this picture right here, this guy had a problem. Looks like maybe some water got into it. It shorted out. And that's a common issue with pass-throughs. Well, supposedly. And that's the caveat to using them. They'll short out because the wires are exposed at the ends of them.
Yep.
But anyway, so what do we do with these posts? Let's make a decision. Do we continue and for the next 20, 30 years when pass-throughs are still a thing? Like, do we still let people...
Well, here's the double-edged sword with this. If you put the hammer down, no more posts on pass-through connectors. The people who will join your Facebook group a year from now won't gain the knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. I love them.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, now you've got people saying pass through again, or queue up the pass through to get a debate or something like that. You know.
Yeah, and like here you go. So David Louise or whatever is that? Oh, good, this again, and it's just, that's
Yes.
But people will respond like pass-throughs suck, or RJ45s are for people that know how to do it properly. Or the
people are passionate in our industry about certain things.
Sure.
Hence Milwaukee Packouts.
Yeah. All right, we won't belabor this too much, but it did get 10,000
nice
views, so it gets views, and it's good knowledge to have, and it's fun sometimes.
Well, and that's the other side of it too, right? Because you're getting those 10,000 views. That's driving people to the community. So
yes, and the only time a post go viral is if it's like a cable fail photo or something like kind of.
I've used some of your cable fail video posts in my TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's free game. Go for it. Yeah, I encourage using this content. Next one. So this one had a question. So Falco, he had a question about. Using a vehicle, a personal vehicle.
Oh yeah.
My thought on this is don't ever do that because the wear and tear, and then you don't have the logo on. Don't have the branding of the company. It just depends. If you're a W-2, absolutely do not use your vehicle. What are your thoughts on this?
So I actually had a company vehicle before, and I've also had a vehicle allowance before. The problem I have is if you're working as a W-2 as an employee of the company, they should give you a van, right? Because like you said, it's all about image, it's all about marketing, it's all about consistency. Smaller companies that may not have gotten to the point where they can afford to give a van to all of their project leads, they're going to give them the option, look, we'll pay you mileage. From a technician's perspective, that might sound really cool. I'm getting 60 something cents a mile. That sounds good. Dude, you will tear up your vehicle.
Yep.
Tear up your vehicle.
Yep.
And
going on job sites and getting like nails in your tires and your
absolutely, absolutely. So while it sounds like a good deal, I would shy away from it big time. And the reason those small companies are doing it is because they can't afford. It's cheaper for them to pay you mileage than to because usually when you have they got to put you on the insurance policy and it costs a ton of money. So from a company perspective, they're saving money until they can get to the point where they make more money. But as from a technician perspective, I would run the opposite direction if somebody wanted to pay me mileage for a work truck. Yeah. Now, like I said, if I'm in sales or like a QA inspector or someone who's not using, I'm just driving from the office to a customer site. I'm not hauling ladders or equipment, stuff like that. I've got like a Pontiac Bonneville, right? I used to have a Pontiac Bonneville. I'm okay with that because you're just driving it. But a work vehicle that you're going to be beating the heck out of, no, I would run from mileage reimbursement.
Yeah. He made an edit to this post that said, "This was apparently a far spicier debate than I thought."
Imagine that. You never know.
Are you new here, Falco?
You never know what people are going to be offended by or have a very staunch opinion that they must let you know what their opinion is.
Yep. All right, next one. This guy, he is 36 years old. He weighs 215 pounds. He doesn't specify what his height is, so that's very important.
Yes.
So he's asking about work boots. And because he has all sorts of pain, he's uncomfortable and yada, 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 lower back, knees, and all that. So obviously everybody's different, genetics, whatnot, physical ability, height, and all that.
Right.
And there's a lot of great response. 187 comments. My response is, I didn't respond to this, but I have Timberland boots. I actually love those, and I walk like all day long with them. I actually have them on right now. I'll walk miles and miles, and I got the steel-toed versions, but these are just the regular ones. But Timberland actually makes some really comfortable ones, so I use those in the field. But also take care of your health. Like get in the gym, do some like light weights. If you're just starting out, like do some squats.
But like you said, this guy could be 7'1".
Yeah,
he's 7'1", 215 is nothing. If he's 4'6", that's different.
Different story.
Different story.
Yeah.
And look, I'll be the first to not throw that stone at that glass house because I'm probably not in the best shape, but I have a farm, so I'm always moving, doing shoveling, doing something.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
Yeah, but I also like to eat. When we harvest those pigs, dude, I love having a good pork chop from pigs we harvest. So I'm a big old corn-fed country boy. Let's leave it at that.
You work up an appetite making those TikTok videos, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My advice when it comes to shoe wear: buy the best that you can afford. Buy the best you can afford.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Work boots for sure.
I used to work when I first got in the whole having a job thing when I was 18. Actually, I started when I was 15. My dad had a gas station, so I got a work permit. And he always bought these shoes. I don't even know if they're even around anymore. They're called NAP, K-N-A-P-P.
Never heard of them.
Extremely expensive. Lifetime guarantee, though. Very comfortable. But they're dorky work shoes. And I used to make fun of them all the time. And then I finally bought a pair myself. I was like, dude, this is like walking on a cloud.
Yeah. You're like, nerd. Like, wait a second. These are awesome.
Yeah. So, and then when I started having a family and started having kids, I went cheap. Oh, I'm just going to go buy the $20 boots from Walmart that last literally like, 2 months? Buy the best you can.
I had a pair of those, the Walmart specials, like the steel toe Walmarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now all I ever wear is Bates boots. And I picked that up from being in the fire department. Those boots for me, I usually retire my Bates boots, not because they don't feel comfortable anymore, but because I have a tendency to wear I'm not a shoe hound. I don't have one pair of shoes to wear with this outfit, another pair of shoes to wear with another outfit. I got a pair of boots, a tennis shoes, and a pair of Crocs. So,
Crocs, yes.
Yeah, I do. The Crocs are great for taking care of the animals in the morning because you don't have to lace up the boots. You put on the Crocs, you go out, you take care of the animals, you take the Crocs off, you don't bring anything in the house.
That's good.
That's all I use them for. But I will wear a pair of shoes into the ground. And Bates boots consistently always last me 2 years. And when I retire them, it's not because they're falling apart. It's not because they're not comfortable anymore. It's usually because I've worn it to dig holes, walk in the pen, and whatever, that I can't wear them in a dress environment. Because I also wear Bates boots when I'm teaching face-to-face classes. I wear the same boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a shoe hound. And so usually for me, it's like, okay, this boot no longer can reside in both realms, the farm realm and the professional realm. That's usually why I retire them. So
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people respond with Red Wing. I've never had a pair of Red Wings, but I've heard
nothing but good thing about Red Wings. They're up there, for as far as expense wise and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen some people say Timberland as well. And then one person posted the red boot. I don't know if that's
I have no idea what that is. Yeah, see, here's the
you
thing.
haven't seen that? It became like a meme or kind of like a trend of people on TikTok wearing these. You didn't see that?
No, I haven't seen that. The thing is, if you go with good quality footwear, if something happens to it, most they can be repaired by most shoemakers. You can just take them to your local shoe repair shop and they'll fix it for you. Put new soles on and stuff, and that they'll last you a lot longer than that $20 pair of boots that you bought from Walmart. And if that's all you can afford, look, I'm not knocking it because I've been there myself. When I was raising 6 kids, you had to put money, you had to either buy groceries or buy boots. I'm sorry, the kids are going to eat, right? The kids are going to eat. I'll wear a pair of boots till I have holes in the bottom if I have to.
Right.
But get the best that you can afford.
Good advice. All right, next one. This guy, he has 3 years experience in the field. He's making $30 an hour in the Bay Area, which is like probably poverty level at this point. I'm not sure.
Right.
I know it's expensive there. And so he's looking for suggestions on training and certification. This is your domain.
I think I responded to this guy, actually.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I think I did.
Yeah. So
But here's my advice. Well, first off, like you said, $30 an hour. While you could live like a king in Florida on that, the Bay, that's a different story, right? Because you're paying what, $4,000 a month for rent
for like 300 square feet. Yeah.
I love the fact that this guy wants to be a continual. I'm assuming it's the guy because I can't read the verbiage, but I do remember the post. Yeah. I love the fact that this tech wants to be a continual learner. They understand that they have to invest in their career. Kudos to that person. With that kind of attitude, they will go leaps and bounds in this industry. Leaps and bounds. So when it comes to training, my first recommendation is be a magnet to anything about the industry. You can get free training from Cable Installation and Maintenance Magazine, right? They have their webinars. All of the manufacturers have free training. There's free training on Bright Talk in low voltage. All free. All you can do is invest time, right? All you do is invest time. And if they have the ability to give you a certificate of attendance, get that and save that, right? That's the first place I would go. Then when you start talking about the certification path, there's 3 ways they can go. 3 ways they can go. And I love all 3. I don't think any one's better than the other most of the time. The first one is the JATC centers, the Joint Apprenticeship Training Centers in the union. Earn while you learn.
Yep.
Right? I've seen their training programs. I've seen their low voltage program. I was at the NECA Philly thing a month or 2 ago, and the majority of the people I talked to were JATC instructors. It's a great program. Yeah, and you don't have to pay for that class. That's the best thing about that. Problem is, there's another hot topic on the Facebook forums: union versus non-union.
Yeah, I don't touch those.
I'm not even going down that route. But I'm just saying the JATC is a great opportunity to learn and not have to pay while you learn. Actually, you earn while you learn. I think their statement. That's a great option. Then that leaves us with the 2 big elephants in the room, right? You have BIXI and FOA. FOA has a really, let's back to the free training one. There's free fiber optic training on YouTube. Good free fiber optic training.
By who?
If you look up free 2-hour fiber training, you will find a video by John Bruno. Mm-hmm. He works for FIS, Fiber Instruments and Sales.
Oh, yeah.
Great instructor. Yeah. Great instructor. I put him right up there with Lee. That's the level I put John Bruno.
Yeah. I think I've seen his video, actually.
Yeah. So that's another free option. So now that leaves us with FOA and BIXI, right? So if money is a concern, if you're having to pay, my recommendation is to go with FOA.
Yep.
Because you could literally just study the material and take the test and be certified for what, $50, I think, something like that. You don't necessarily have to take that class
to get a cert. To take the test.
And when you look at FOA's curriculum versus BIXI's curriculum, the fiber optic curriculum, you get a more complete picture with the FOA.
Yep. Because
you're getting inside plant, outside plant, cable TV, the whole 9 yards. The BIXI fiber training program, it is excellent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say they got different niches. That's what it is. So they're going to be focused more on fiber optic inside of the building or between office buildings and stuff like that. That's what they're really geared towards. Their training towards. Their training is excellent. It's just as good as FOA. It's also pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive. So if you take a week-long course with Bixie, you can expect between $2,000 and $3,000, depending on the course and a bunch of other stuff. But now you gotta ask yourself, am I taking the training to learn, or am I taking the training so I can get a piece of paper, so I can get a better job, or I can respond to bids? This is where Bixie edges out FOA.
Yeah.
Bixie has higher name recognition.
Yep.
And
Totally
so people with them certifications, customers, you have to be Bixie certified. You have to follow the Bixie codes. I love that. The Bixie codes. Learn the difference between code, standards, and best practices first off, right? Because Bixie's is not code.
Yeah. Right.
But, they had the name recognition in the market. So if you're looking to make more money and you're working in the commercial building space, then probably the Bixie certification is going to be better. Sure. If you're working in the cable TV space, the FOA certification is probably going to do you better. So there's you really got to look at what's your end goal, what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go with your career to determine which certification will work best for you. Because I love all of them, but my answer to my question depends when I talk to the person. That's why I rarely will tell somebody, if somebody asks about that kind of question vague, I'll say, call me, let's talk. So I can figure out where you're trying to go first, right? Because if you're going from point A to point B, I'm not going to send you through point W first to get to point B, right? I want you, the time that you invest in training, I want it to be as quick and easy, as fast as you can. And that's why I said I need to know the information so I can determine, is Bixie the best route for you? Is FOA the best route for you? Because some scenarios, one's better, and some scenarios the other is better. It just kind of depends.
Yeah, and it depends on if your employer will pay for it.
That's a big one. And if you're not working for an employer who's not willing to increase your skill set to make you more billable, you might want to ask the question, why am I still at this company? I mean, they may have other benefits that might be keeping you. They might have super great health benefits. You might really like who you're working for because they're mentoring you. Okay, those are valid reasons. But if everything else is all equal and a company's not willing to invest in making me a better person so I can be more marketable for the company, I'd have to ask, what other areas are you not investing in?
Yeah, for sure. And how competitive it is right now for getting techs. Like as an employer, you've got to do something, and that's one of it.
It is an employee's market right now. Absolutely.
Big time. All right, next one. I think it's the last one. It's kind of a funny one. I'm not sure why I put this in here, but this guy, he's in a ceiling. So if you're listening on the podcast, it's a ceiling, and there is a huge. Is that a wasp nest?
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a wasp. It looks like mud wasp.
Yeah, and I think he said like the customer said the exterminator couldn't find it. Like, what kind of an exterminator? I don't think they actually hired an exterminator. They just kind of said that.
Yeah, it's your typical view above the ceiling tiles. They got a bunch of insulation laying on the tiles, and they got the cables laying on top of the insulation, and the ceiling is literally, I'd say, maybe 12, 18 inches above that, and then there's an opposing wall that you're looking at. There's a big old mud wasp nest right there. It's funny because this shows you my nature. When I saw this post, all I really saw was, hey, that cable's not being supported right.
Yeah, right. That was the first thing. Be like, what is this cable mess? Like, oh shit.
Right. Because why are they talking about exterminator not supporting cable? It probably took me 30 seconds to realize that there's that insect nest on that back wall.
Yeah. That's funny. So, have you ever encountered this kind of predicament in the field, or
what, insects and rodents and stuff?
Well, you live on a farm, so I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, all the time, man. Yeah.
How would you recommend since this is inside? How would you recommend taking care of this? Call back the exterminator.
If I saw any activity, I would back out and let the exterminator take care of it.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll find, especially with mud wasps, they're not there. If it's an inactive one, dude, just man up. Grab a trash bag, open it up, put it around it, close it, tie it up. That way it's done. Winner, chicken dinner. You're there to do a job. But if there is activity, or if you have a predisposition to an allergy to insect bites, then
Right.
yeah, call the professionals.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do just to get the job done.
Yeah, when you're doing like residential or any type of work where you've got like multiple service tickets, in the same day, you got to get shit done. And that's what I did for a few years. And my encounter with these things is the first time it was a nest inside like a door. It was like a hollow door, and I guess the nest was inside that door. So
Right.
like we're trying to change out like a electronic strike, and see these wasps coming out. So I'm like, oh god, I got to get this done. So like I walk up to it, the first one that comes and lands on my nipple and stings me in the nipple.
Oh, ow,
I'm
ow.
like, I'm like, this is terrible, but we got the job done. We went back and got some like the spray and sprayed it down. But then the second time,
Yeah,
I
but
was
before you
hanging.
go on, let me interject something really quick. If you're doing
Yeah.
that in an office environment, you better be super cautious because my wife is a reactive asthmatic. And
Mm,
if she was, and she worked in an office for many, many years, if they cleaned with Clorox, it would send her into an asthma attack.
yeah,
So
that's
before you start spraying anything in a commercial office building, you better check and ask first.
this. This was a strip mall and an exterior door, so we were
Okay.
outside.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was like to a like a utility room.
Right.
Yeah, so there weren't people around.
Yeah. And when I said
Good
sometimes you got to
point.
do what you got to do, I was specifically only talking about this example. You hear that attitude a lot about safety. There was a post on, I can't remember if it was Low Voltage Nation or if it was Telecom Techs or if it was one of the other forums, but where somebody was, they were standing on the top rails of a scissor lift looking
I
down,
Yep.
and then in the post somebody said, "Yo, sometimes you got to do what you got to do." Dude, when it comes to safety, I lost an uncle because of a scaffolding accident because of
Yep.
safety. And I'm telling you right now, my life is not worth that job getting done. Period.
Yep,
I
I
will walk
saw
away.
that post. I almost put it in this list, but I didn't want to expose that person, even though they're exposed. They expose themselves on the internet, which is very bonehead to do.
Yeah,
Don't.
but one thing that gets me is when somebody will post something that they know is going to cause controversy, but then they'll do it as anonymous user.
Yeah,
Dude, if you're going to
yeah,
put that out there, be man enough to take the heat.
yeah. There was this one. If this person's listening, they'll know what I'm talking about. They posted some on Instagram where it was like OSHA what they were like doing some like sketchy shit on a lift or whatever. Like had like a ladder on like a lift or like I don't know
Right.
what it was, and and then so I had like all these Instagram accounts, like ones I don't use anymore from like previous projects. So I changed it to OSHA Texas and like put the OSHA logo. So I got in the comments, I'm like, "What's up, fellas?" They ended up taking the post down. I felt bad, so I hope he's not listening to this.
Oh Lord, that's funny. Oh, that reminds me of a comedian. I love watching comedy, and there's this one guy who talks about how he responds to social media posts, and so like somebody would say, "Oh, well, Walmart, because you're doing politically this or this, I'm no longer going to be shopping at your store." He would create an account called Walmart Corporate and respond back to them. Okay, bye.
Yeah. That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah. So the second time I was on an extension ladder, like way up, installing some cameras, and they were coming out from. They were in the ceiling. They were in like the scat, like the above the soffit, and they were coming out of this camera. And we had all sorts of issues with these cameras, like all the squirrels and rats in the apartment complex chewed through all of our low voltage cable, like almost took down the entire system.
Mhm.
And so I'm on this extension ladder, and here come these wasps, and I'm way up there. They start stinging me. I'm like, oh god, I'm dead. It's over. So to your point, like safety first, like don't do dumb, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to like being that high up.
Yeah, and some people take the unfortunate attitude that well, corporate safety, this is there to save a buck, and it is to save a buck, but like I said, my life is not worth standing on top of that step ladder on top of that scissor lift that's wobbling. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
if it's going to endanger my life, my goal, my loyalty is to my kids and my wife. It's not to the company. Because the company,
yeah,
there's loyalty there. Don't get me wrong, but my higher loyalty is to my family. And if I can't come home, or if I fall off the extension ladder because I got stung by a bunch of wasps and now I'm a cripple, what good am I to my family?
yeah. Yeah, and if you look up the stats of like how many like work related injuries and deaths there are, like this, and go on Instagram, you can see there's like entire accounts that are dedicated to like OSHA violations.
Yeah.
Just like go and see like the outcomes of those, and then you'll think twice about doing something stupid.
Like I said, I lost an uncle. He worked for a scaffolding company, and he was actually the safety officer for that company. And he was checking in scaffolding coming back into the office, and he was standing on top of some scaffolding, and the scaffolding fell over and fell on top of him, crushed him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's I take safety pretty serious, and I cut people slack in a lot of areas. Safety's not one of them.
Yep.
Safety's not one of them.
All right. Well, that
Brother,
was
man,
it.
it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. That was great, man.
That hour went by pretty fast.
It sure did. I loved it. It's awesome.
I appreciate you coming on the show, my friend.
Yep. Talk soon.
That's it for this episode of today's podcast. We hope you were able to learn something. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Also, leave a rating so we can help even more people learn about telecommunications. Until next time, be safe.